Welcome back. You're watching Debrief. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to arrive in Israel Tuesday for the first state visit ever by an Indian Prime Minister. Both he and his host, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, will be marking a significant warming up of ties between the two countries. Shared development, agriculture and water are a big part of the meetings, but also security and arms. The growing ties between Israel and India have already led to billions of dollars in defense deals. Israel, a country in constant search for allies to vote in its favor at the United Nations, has been portraying this visit as a historic one. Israel's ambassador to India, Daniel Karman, and former ambassador Mark Sofer spoke earlier today about the plans for the visit and stressed its importance.
Looking at the priorities of the government of India, and they are looking at our priorities, and we are mixing a joint table in which it's not only about the political debate, it's not only about the traditional diplomacy, but we are definitely the implementers of developmental diplomacy, economic diplomacy, digital diplomacy, and so many other disciplines in which the priorities are meeting on a joint table.
Just last week, the Israeli government passed a resolution governing the entire web of relations with India. This touches on all aspects of bilateral ties, the entire gamut, the spectrum of what governs relations between two countries: economics, space, science, innovation, technology, people to people, tourism, basically you name it, it's in it, including, of course, resources, funding.
For further analysis on this visit, I'm joined now on set by our senior international affairs correspondent, Owen Alterman. Owen, how important is this visit? Why is it taking place now?
It's hugely important, Tal. For Israel, India is an important country. It's a rising power, one of the world's 10 largest economies, and it's an important client. India is the #1 buyer of Israel's arms. Of course, the arms sector and the defense sector here, so important to the economy and to the society. And to say the least, this is the first ever visit by an Indian prime minister to Israel. The countries are celebrating 25 years of diplomatic ties. But for most of those 25 years, India kept Israel at arm's length. Not so under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who will be landing in Israel tomorrow.
So what are the expectations on both sides?
Well, look, the expectations in terms of concrete achievements are signing new defense deals, new economic deals. We just heard in the clip Mark Sofer talking about the government's plan to increase its economic ties and trade with India. But the symbolism here is even more important. The fact that after 25 years, an Indian prime minister is going to be coming to Israel, not hiding Israel on the side, but making Israel a central part of Indian foreign policy is hugely important for Israel, a country, Tal, I don't have to tell you, that has felt so diplomatically isolated for so many decades, and over the past few years has made so much progress in spite of the boycott and divestment movement in parts of the West, especially making progress with Eastern powers like China and India. This visit really a capstone of those achievements by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, by the whole society.
And it's not only that Narendra Modi will be visiting Israel, it's also the fact that he won't be visiting the Palestinian Authority territories. How can you explain this decision? How remarkable is that? How weird, should I say?
Well, it's remarkable because it's common practice in these visits. We saw it as recently as Donald Trump last month coming and visiting not only Israel, but also Ramallah and meeting with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and with Palestinian leadership. Narendra Modi will not be doing that. He's only coming to visit Israel, and then he's leaving. I asked the Indian ambassador to Israel about this last week at an event I attended in Jerusalem. He simply said, we India don't feel we have to hyphenate our relationships. He's coming here to visit Israel. Israel is the important strategic partner for India, and despite India's traditional allegiance to the Palestinian cause, for decades, India saw itself as being at the forefront of that. Not even visiting Ramallah during this visit, really seen by Palestinians as a loss, and one can understand why.
So is it a change within India itself, or is it just Modi's agenda? Who is the person, if you can explain? What's his agenda?
Well, I think there are two parts. Number one, it really is about Modi, the person. Remember, Tal, that Modi comes from a Hindu nationalist party. He made a name for himself as chief minister in Gujarat and came under controversy there because of his attitude towards Muslims. There were in 2002 riots that killed 1,000 Muslims in Gujarat. Modi seen as not being tough enough and taking a stand against those rioters. He's been dogged his entire political career with criticism that he hasn't been friendly towards Muslims, and maybe that's at the back of this, that he sees Israel as a non-Muslim state and as a fellow democracy, and that he sees a kind of common cause. Certainly Benjamin Netanyahu would be well to be party to that and would see himself as part of that front as well. And also it's the international environment. For many, many years, states thought that they had to choose between the Arab side and the Israeli side because of the changes in the Middle East over the past few years, and especially Israel's relationship with Sunni Arab states here. It lessens the pressure on countries, and they don't feel that they have to sacrifice their relationships with Arab states if they become closer to Israel.